There's a moment near the end of Elden Ring where you stand in a cathedral at the edge of the world, holding a ring engraved with a warning. The warning reads, "Whoever thou mayest be, take not the ring from this place. The solitude beyond the night is better mine alone." Most players ignore that warning. They place the ring on the finger of a motionless blue doll lying on the cathedral floor, and they watch as she awakens, as stars fill the sky, as everything they thought they understood about their journey transforms into something else entirely. But here's what almost no one realizes on their first playthrough. That warning wasn't meant for you. It was meant for her. This is the story of Ranni the Witch, and it's unlike anything else in Elden Ring's lore. This is the story of a demigod who orchestrated the very first murder in a land where death had been forbidden. A princess who killed her own brother to free herself. A sorceress who planned every step of your journey centuries before you were even born. A witch who carved a warning into her own wedding ring because she believed she was a monster who didn't deserve love. And here's the twist that changes everything. The very first person you meet in Elden Ring. The mysterious woman who gives you the ability to summon spirits, who knows your horse by name, who watches you carefully to see if you're worthy. That's Ranni. She's been manipulating your path from the very beginning, testing you, preparing you to become the instrument of her revenge against the gods themselves. But there's something even deeper going on, something that reveals itself only at the very end. Something about who really gave Ranni the spirit-calling bell to pass on to you, and what that means about the conspiracy that shattered the Elden Ring. Let's trace this cold, calculated scheme from beginning to end, and discover the truth about the Age of Stars. Part 1. The Daughter of Two Moons. The story of Ranni begins not with conspiracy or murder, but with a family. Not a happy family, mind you. In the world of Elden Ring, even the gods have dysfunctional relationships that would make mortal families look positively healthy by comparison. Ranni was born as Lunar Princess Ranni, daughter of two legendary figures. Her father was Radagon of the Golden Order, a champion of Queen Marika and eventually her consort, a man with flowing red hair who would become central to the very structure of the Elden Ring itself. Her mother was Renala, Queen of the Full Moon, the head of both the Carian royal family and the Academy of Raya Lucaria, a sorceress of such immense power that she commanded the very moon itself. Ranni had two older brothers. Starscourge Radahn, who would grow to become a towering demigod warrior capable of holding the very stars in place through sheer gravitational might. And Praetor Rykard, who would eventually feed himself to a god-devouring serpent in his blasphemous quest for immortality. Three siblings of the Carian line, each destined for greatness, each destined for tragedy. But Ranni was different from her brothers. Where Radahn embraced strength and Rykard embraced heresy, Ranni embraced knowledge. She inherited her mother's gift for sorcery, becoming one of the most powerful magic users in all the lands between. Under Renala's guidance, young Ranni was led by the hand to encounter her own moon. Not her mother's full moon, warm and bright, but something else entirely. What she beheld was cold, dark, and veiled in occult mystery. The Dark Moon. This moment would define everything that followed. The Dark Moon became Ranni's symbol, her source of power, her guiding light through the darkness. But there was something about this moon that others found deeply unsettling. A heretical snow witch who tutored Ranni in the deep woods, a mentor whom Ranni greatly respected, warned her about the Dark Moon's occult influence. The warning went unheeded. Ranni had found something in that cold darkness, something that spoke to her in ways the golden light of the Erd Tree never could. But then came the shattering of everything Ranni had known. Queen Marika the Eternal, the goddess who ruled over all the lands between, decided she wanted Radagon back. Radagon, who had made his home with Ranni, who had fathered 3 demigod children with her, was commanded to abandon his family and return to become Marika's consort. And because Marika's will was law, because the greater will demanded it, Radagon left without warning, without explanation, without even a proper goodbye. Ranni was utterly destroyed by this abandonment. The proud queen who had once commanded armies, who had fought the Golden Order to a standstill until Radagon proposed an oath of union instead of continued war, was reduced to a broken shell. She clutched the amber egg Radagon had given her and retreated into delusions, surrounding herself with juvenile sorcerers who she would attempt to rebirth again and again, endlessly, futilely trying to recapture something she had lost. Ranni watched her mother's descent into madness. She watched the Golden Order take everything from her family, and she learned a vital lesson. The greater will and the gods it empowered cared nothing for love, nothing for family, nothing for individuals. They cared only for their grand cosmic design. But here's where Ranni's story takes its first dark turn. When Radagon became Marika's consort, Ranni and her siblings were elevated to the status of demigods. They were now officially children of an Elden Lord, with all the power and prestige that came with it. Most people would have been thrilled with such elevation. Not Ranni, because that elevation came with strings attached. The 2 fingers, enigmatic envoys of the greater will, had been searching for potential successors to Queen Marika. They needed Empyreans, beings born with the potential to become vessels for an outer god, candidates who could one day ascend to godhood and rule over a new age. The 2 fingers looked at Ranni and declared her worthy. She was chosen. She was special. She was trapped. Because when you're chosen as an Empyrean, you don't get to live your own life anymore. The 2 fingers assigned her a shadow, a beast warrior created specifically to serve and protect her. His name was Blaidd, and he was a half-wolf, half-man, a towering figure with silver fur and armor, wielding a great sword as tall as a person. Blaidd was raised by Ranni as Ranni's stepbrother, and the 2 grew up together, playing as siblings, training as warriors, developing a bond that seemed unbreakable. But what neither Ranni nor Blaidd knew at the time was the terrible secret built into every shadow. Shadows were engineered with a fail-safe, as War Counselor Iji would later reveal. If their Empyrean ever tried to defy the 2 fingers, if they ever attempted to step off the path laid out for them by the greater will, the shadow would go mad. They would transform from a loyal protector into a curse, into an assassin who would be compelled to kill the very person they loved most. Based on how events unfold, Ranni must have discovered this truth at some point during her studies. We don't know exactly when or how, but the evidence suggests she learned what Blaidd really was: a bomb waiting to explode. A friend who would become her executioner if she ever tried to be free. This knowledge likely shaped everything that came after, every decision she made, every plan she laid. And that's when Ranni made her choice. She would not be a pawn. She would not be a vessel. She would not allow the 2 fingers or the greater will or any god to dictate her fate. She would defy destiny itself, even if it meant committing the greatest act of treason in the history of the lands between. She would steal death. She would kill a god. And then she would kill herself. Part 2. The night everything died. Let's talk about what death meant in the lands between before Ranni changed everything. Death didn't exist. Not real death, anyway. When people died, they didn't truly end. Their souls would return to the Erd Tree, that massive golden tree that dominated the landscape, and they would be recycled, reborn, absorbed back into the grand design. It was immortality of a sort, but it was also a prison. You couldn't escape the Erd Tree's cycle. You couldn't ever truly be free. This immortality was enforced by the Elden Ring itself. Within that ring of power was the Rune of Death, also called Destined Death, the fundamental force that made true death possible. But Queen Marika had removed that rune from the ring. She had sealed it away and given it to her most trusted guardian to protect. Malekith the Black Blade, her own shadow-bound beast, a warrior of terrifying power who kept the Rune of Death bound within his very flesh so that no one could ever steal it. Except Ranni figured out how to do exactly that. We don't know all the details of how she accomplished this theft. The lore tells us only that on a certain night, someone stole a fragment of the Rune of Death from Malekith. What we do know is that this someone was Ranni, that she succeeded in taking a piece of the very power that Malekith had sworn to protect with his life, and that this act would have required planning, cunning, and likely help from others who also wanted to see the Golden Order fall. With that fragment of destined death in hand, Ranni set about the next phase of her plan. She needed assassins. Not just any assassins, but the very best, warriors capable of killing a demigod, women skilled enough to infiltrate the royal capital of Leyndell and strike down one of the most beloved figures in all the lands between. She found her killers in the Black Knife assassins. These assassins were extraordinary. All women, all members of the Numen race, the same race as Queen Marika herself. They wore silver armor under cloaks that fooled the eye, and they moved with such stealth that they seemed to disappear into the shadows themselves. They came from the Eternal City, that ancient civilization that had been cast underground by the Greater Will as punishment for an earlier act of treason against the gods. Ranni performed a fearsome ritual to imbue their black knives with the power of destined death. These weapons, twisted and misshapen, carved with the fragment of the rune that Marika had sealed away, now had the power to kill body and soul together, to grant true death, to end immortality itself. But here's where Ranni's plan becomes truly dark, because the Rune of Death had a peculiar property. When used to kill, it created a curse mark, a symbol of death that should have taken the shape of a circle. But Ranni knew that if only one person died bearing this mark, they would die completely. Her plan required 2 deaths at the exact same moment to split the curse mark in half, creating 2 half-wheel marks, each one representing a partial death. One person would die in body but not soul. One person would die in soul but not body. She chose her victims carefully. For the death of the soul, she selected Godwyn the Golden. Whether this choice was strategic, symbolic, or influenced by others remains unclear from the lore, but the consequences were calculated and devastating. Godwyn was the firstborn son of Queen Marika and the first Elden Lord, Godfrey. He was a hero, beloved by all, the demigod who had befriended the ancient dragon Fortisax and brought peace with the dragons. He represented everything noble about the Golden Order. His death would shatter the illusion of divine invulnerability. His death would prove that even the children of gods could fall. But here's where the conspiracy gets murky. The Black Knife assassins were all Numen, the same race as Queen Marika herself. They had close ties to Marika, according to their armor's description. This raises a disturbing question that the game never fully answers. Did Marika know? Did the goddess herself play a role in the death of her own son? The evidence suggests a possibility too dark for many players to accept, but the connections are there if you look closely enough. On the night of Black Knives, on a bitter winter night shrouded in fog, the assassins struck. They infiltrated Leyndell, the royal capital. They found Godwyn. We see a glimpse of this moment in the opening cinematic of Elden Ring, multiple assassins restraining him, their blades raised, the dark ritual beginning. Taiche, daughter of the ringleader Alecto, was the one who struck the killing blow, carving half of the curse mark of death into Godwyn's flesh. His soul died in that instant. His body lived on, but without a soul to guide it. Without any sense of self or identity or humanity, it became something else entirely. Godwyn's corpse was given an Erd-tree burial, interred deep beneath Leyndell in a place called the Deep-Root Depths. But death doesn't sleep. That soulless body began to grow, to mutate, to spread like a cancer through the roots of the Erd-tree itself. Godwyn became the Prince of Death, a writhing, fish-like monstrosity with a malformed face, spreading death-root throughout the lands between, giving rise to those who live in death, undead beings trapped between life and death, cursed to exist in a state that violated the Golden Order's carefully constructed rules. But Godwyn's death was only half of the equation. At the exact same moment the assassins carved their curse mark into Godwyn, Ranni carved the other half into her own flesh. She killed her Empyrean body, the vessel the two fingers had prepared for godhood. Her body died atop the divine tower of Liurnia, burned black, unrecognizable. If you make your way to that tower during your journey through Elden Ring, you can still find it there, a charred corpse with hints of red hair, clutching half of the curse mark of death. But Ranni's soul survived. She had prepared for this. She had created a vessel, a doll modeled after her mentor, the Snow Witch. As her Empyrean body died, her soul transferred into this doll, binding itself to the puppet's form. She became a doll with pale blue skin, 4 arms, long flowing hair, and one eye sealed shut by a glowing azure sigil. In that moment of synchronized death, Ranni achieved what should have been impossible. She died without dying. She freed herself from the Two Fingers' control without destroying her consciousness. She became the first demigod in history to experience death, and she survived it. But the consequences of that night would echo through generations. The assassins fled from Leyndell, fighting their way past guards, leaving wounded and dead in their wake. Some of them, like Taiche, were killed during the escape. Others, like the ringleader Alecto, were captured and imprisoned in Evergalls, magical prisons designed to contain the most dangerous criminals. The survivors scattered throughout, the lands between, hiding, waiting, their mission complete, but their futures uncertain. Queen Marika, confronted with the death of her most beloved son, was driven to the brink of madness by grief. Shortly after the Night of Black Knives, she did something that no one expected, something that would change everything. She took up her hammer and shattered the Elden Ring itself. The shattering began. The demigods went to war with each other over the fragments of the ring, each one claiming great runes, each one building armies, each one believing they had the right to become the next Elden Lord. Brother fought sister. Kingdoms fell. The lands between descended into an age of chaos and bloodshed that would last for centuries. And through it all, Ranni watched from the shadows, hiding in her doll body, waiting for the next phase of her plan to unfold. Because the Night of Black Knives wasn't the end of her scheme. It was only the beginning. Part 3. The Witch in the Tower. After the Night of Black Knives, after the shattering began, Ranni did something unexpected. She disappeared. Most people in the lands between assumed she had died along with Godwyn. After all, 2 demigods had perished that night, hadn't they? That's what everyone believed. Ranni's fate and her involvement in the conspiracy remained unknown to almost everyone. She had successfully faked her death, freed herself from the Two Fingers' control, and now she needed to lay low, to hide. to wait for exactly the right moment to strike again. She made her home in Caria Manor, the ancestral seat of the Carian royal family in Leonia. But she didn't stay in the main manor itself. Instead, she claimed one of the three sisters, a trio of towers behind the manor that had once belonged to Carian royalty. Her tower, Ranni's Rise, became her sanctuary. She surrounded herself with a handful of loyal servants, people who knew her true identity, who understood her goals, who were willing to help her defy the gods themselves. First among these servants was war counselor Iji, a troll blacksmith of exceptional skill who had served the Carian royal family for generations. Iji had watched Ranni grow up. He had forged weapons for her and Blaidd. He understood the weight of what she was attempting, and though it grieved him, though he knew the terrible price that would eventually come due, he supported her absolutely. Iji set up his forge along the road leading to Caria Manor, and there he waited, crafting weapons, maintaining vigil, protecting the path to his lady. Then there was Preceptor Seluvis, a sorcerer who lived in another of the three sisters' towers. Seluvis was brilliant but deeply, profoundly unpleasant. He was obsessed with creating puppets, magically enslaving people by reducing them to mindless dolls that would obey his every command. Even Ranni, despite working with him, despised Seluvis. She knew what kind of person he was. She knew about his perverse obsessions and cruel tsar experiments, but she needed his knowledge of sorcery and puppetry, needed his skills, so she tolerated him while making it clear that she saw exactly what he was. And then there was Blaidd. Blaidd remained by Ranni's side even after her death and rebirth. He didn't know about the failsafe built into his nature. He didn't know that he was engineered to eventually go mad and turn on her. All he knew was that Ranni was his lady, his stepsister, the person he had sworn to protect with his life. Blaidd was loyal to the end, a warrior who would defy destiny itself if it meant serving Ranni. But Ranni knew the truth. She knew what would happen to Blaidd if she continued down this path. She knew she was leading him toward madness and death, and yet she kept him close because she needed him, because the plan required it, and perhaps because on some level she couldn't bear to send him away, even though keeping him near would doom him. From her tower, Ranni spent years in hibernation, slipping in and out of dormancy. Her dull body required long periods of sleep. But even while dormant, she was working. She was researching. She was looking for something specific, something that only existed in one place, something that had been hidden away in an ancient city that had been lost for centuries. She was looking for the Fingerslayer Blade. The Fingerslayer Blade was a legendary weapon, a twisted, misshapen blade said to have been born from a corpse. It was the hidden treasure of Nokron, one of the eternal cities that existed deep underground. The blade was proof of the high treason the eternal cities had committed against the greater will, the very reason those cities had been cast into the depths as punishment. The weapon had a unique property. It could harm the greater will and its vassals. More specifically, it could kill the Two Fingers. This was the key to everything Ranni planned. As long as the Two Fingers existed, as long as those envoys of the greater will maintained their connection to the divine, Ranni could never be truly free. Even in her dull body, even after killing her Empyrean flesh, she was still bound to them. The Two Fingers could still exert influence. They could still send assassins. They could still interfere with her destiny. She needed that blade. But there was a problem. Nokron, the Eternal City, was inaccessible. It lay far beneath the earth, hidden in the Siofra River region, sealed away by ancient magic and physical impossibility. No one had entered Nokron in centuries. No one even knew exactly where it was. The city had been lost to time, buried, forgotten. And that's where Ranni's plan gets truly intricate, because she knew something that no one else did. She knew how to reach Nokron, but doing so would require manipulating events on a massive scale, would require using people as pawns, would require putting into motion a chain of events that would span the entire lands between. It would require the stars to fall. You see, Nokron could only be accessed when a star fell from the sky and crashed into the earth, breaking open a pathway to the underground city. But the stars weren't falling. They had been stopped, frozen in place, held in stasis by a gravitational force so immense that it could prevent celestial bodies from moving. General Radahn, Ranni's older brother, the mightiest warrior of his generation, had learned gravitational magic specifically so he could hold the stars in place. Some say he did this out of love for Ranni, to freeze her fate in place, to prevent the stars from dictating her destiny. Others suggest he was manipulated, that someone convinced him this was necessary, that he never knew he was actually helping to trap his sister in an incomplete plan. Either way, Ranni needed Radahn dead. She needed someone powerful enough to kill a demigod, someone who could face down Star-Scourge Radahn in single combat and actually win, someone who could free the stars and allow them to fall. She needed a Tarnished. She needed you. Part 4. The game begins. Your first encounter with Ranni comes early in your journey through Elden Ring, so early that you might not even realize how significant it is. And here's the twist that changes everything about that first meeting. Ranni already knows who you are. She knows you can summon Torrent. She knows you're the one. This isn't a chance encounter. This is a test. After you receive the spirit calling bell from Melina and gain the ability to summon your spectral steed Torrent, something specific triggers. You rest at a site of grace, and when you awaken, you find yourself back at the Church of Ele in Limgrave, that small ruined church where you first met Merchant Kale. But now there's someone else there, sitting on a broken wall near the church, a figure in a massive witch's hat and flowing robes who wasn't there before. She introduces herself as Renna. This is a lie. This is Ranni using a false name, testing you, measuring your worth. But here's what most players miss. She's not testing you to see if you're strong or capable. Those qualities she can observe from a distance. She's testing you to see if you have the right connection, the right mark of destiny. She speaks in that archaic, formal way, telling you that she's heard tale of a Tarnished riding around on a spectral steed. Then she asks the crucial question. Thou art possessed of the power? No. To call forth the spectral steed named Torrent. She knows his name. She knows exactly who you are. And when you confirm that yes, you can summon Torrent, her entire demeanor changes. Ah, as I had hoped, she says, and then she gives you 2 items, the spirit calling bell and the lone wolf ashes. I was entrusted this for thee, she explains, by Torrent's former master. Think about what this means. Torrent's former master, whoever they were, knew this day would come. They knew a Tarnished would rise, would be chosen by Torrent, would need the ability to summon spirits. They prepared these gifts in advance and gave them to Ranni to deliver at precisely the right moment. This wasn't random. This was planned. Centuries ago, someone arranged for you to receive these exact items from this exact person at this exact time. And Ranni has been waiting, watching, preparing to see if you're the one who will help her complete what she started with the Knight of Black Knives. She watches you carefully as you accept these gifts, studying your reactions, measuring your worth. And then she vanishes, just disappears, leaving you with more questions than answers and tools you don't yet understand the significance of. Most players write this off as a helpful NPC giving tutorial items. But it's so much more than that. This is Ranni introducing herself into your story, marking you as her chosen instrument, beginning a manipulation that will eventually lead you to kill demigods, cross the Lake of Rot, and place a ring on her finger in a cathedral at the edge of the world. You won't see her again for quite some time. Not until you've made significant progress through Liurnia, not until you've fought your way through Caria Manor and defeated its guardian, Royal Knight Loretta. Only then, when you've proven yourself capable, when you've demonstrated that you have the strength to face real challenges, does the path open to the Three Sisters. Ranni's rise awaits at the end of that path. When you climb to the top of her tower, you find her there in her true form, the blue-skinned doll sitting in a chair, that enormous witch's hat atop her head. She greets you with recognition. She reveals that she is not Renna at all, but Ranni the Witch. And here's where things get interesting, because Ranni offers you a choice. She asks if you would enter into her service. Most players at this point have no idea what they're agreeing to. The game doesn't explicitly tell you that accepting Ranni's service will lock you into one of the longest, most complex quest lines in all of Elden Ring, a quest that will take you to secret locations across the entire map, that will require you to defeat multiple major bosses, that will culminate in an alternate ending for the entire game. If you agree to serve her, Ranni introduces you to her other associates. Blaidd is there, or rather a magical projection of Blaidd. The wolf warrior greets you warmly, recognizing you from your earlier encounter at the Forlorn Hound Evergal if you helped him defeat Darrewil. Seluvis is there too, in his tower nearby, ready to dispense advice and disturbing comments in equal measure. And if you travel down the road toward Caria Manor, you'll meet Iji at his forge, the troll who has served Ranni's family for so long. Ranni's instructions are deceptively simple. She needs you to find something for her, the hidden treasure of Nokron. She doesn't tell you exactly what this treasure is. She doesn't tell you how to reach Nokron. She just sends you on your way, confident that if you're truly worthy, you'll figure it out. This is where the game turns into a masterclass of interconnected quest lines and hidden objectives. To find Nokron, you need to talk to Blaidd. Blaidd suggests you seek out Nokron in the Siofra River region, deep underground. You go there and find Blaidd waiting, but he admits he has no idea how to actually reach the Eternal City. It's down here somewhere, he knows that much, but there's no path, no entrance, no way forward. Blaidd suggests you talk to Seluvis. Maybe the Preceptor knows something. You return to Seluvis's tower, and he gives you a letter of introduction to someone named Sorceress Sellen. He also tries to get you involved in his puppet schemes, asking you to give his potion to someone so he can turn them into a mindless doll. You can choose to go along with this disturbing request, or ignore it entirely. Sellen, when you find her trapped in magical chains beneath the Waypoint ruins, has information. She knows about Radon. She tells you that General Radon has held the stars in place, and as long as he lives, the stars cannot move, which means fate itself is frozen. She suggests that if you want to reach Nokron, you need to do something about Radon. This leads you to Redmane Castle in Caelid, where a festival is being prepared. The Festival of Combat, dedicated to allowing warriors from across the lands between to challenge Star Scourge Radon in glorious battle. It's a mercy, really. Radon has gone mad from the scarlet rot that consumes him, and he spends his days on the wailing dunes, eating the corpses of friend and foe alike, a tragic end for a once legendary hero. When you arrive at the castle, you find Blaidd there, ready to fight. Multiple warriors have gathered for this battle. Okina, Alexander the Iron Fist, Patches who will immediately run away when things get dangerous, and others. You all charge out onto the dunes together to face down one of the mightiest bosses in the game. The fight with Radon is extraordinary, an epic confrontation where you can summon multiple allies to help bring down the demigod who once held back the stars themselves. When you finally land the killing blow, When Radahn finally falls, a cutscene triggers. A star falls from the sky. It's beautiful and terrible, a burning meteor crashing down from the heavens after being held in stasis for untold years. It streaks across the sky and slams into the earth somewhere in Limgrave, and you realize Ranni planned this. She knew you would need to kill her brother. She knew Radahn's death would free the stars. She manipulated all of you into committing fratricide, into killing a demigod, all so she could access a lost city. When you travel to the impact site in Mistwood, you find a massive crater, and at the bottom of that crater is a hole in reality itself, a passage that leads down, down, down into the depths of the earth. You've found the entrance to Nokron. Part 5. The City of Night. Nokron is unlike anywhere else in the lands between. It's an entire city preserved underground, a place of ancient architecture and impossible beauty, lit by a false sky dotted with stars that aren't stars at all. This is one of the Eternal Cities, civilizations that existed before the Golden Order, cultures that worshipped different powers, followed different rules. The Nox people who built these cities committed what the Greater Will deemed high treason. They attempted to create a Lord of Night, a rival to the Elden Lord. They tried to forge weapons that could kill the envoys of the Greater Will. For these crimes, the entire civilization was cast underground, buried beneath miles of earth and stone, hidden away from the light. But they left behind wonders. Silver Tear mimics that can transform into copies of whatever they encounter. Ancestral spirits that wander the underground regions, majestic and sorrowful. And at the heart of Nokron, hidden in the night's sacred ground beneath a massive statue of a skeletal figure on a throne, a chest containing the treasure Ranni seeks. To reach it, you need to navigate across broken rooftops, leap between ancient structures, fight your way past silver tears that morph into humanoid warriors. The path requires precision platforming through a crumbling city. But if you're persistent, if you keep moving forward, you eventually reach the ancestral woods, and from there, the night's sacred ground. First, though, you encounter the Mimic Tear. The Mimic Tear is one of the most unique bosses in Elden Ring. It's a shapeshifter that creates an exact copy of you, complete with all your equipment, spells, and items. Fighting your own mirror can be incredibly difficult, or absurdly easy if you know the trick. Unequip everything before entering the boss room. Let the mimic copy your unarmed form, then re-equip your gear and destroy it while it's defenseless. Beyond the Mimic Tear, past the ancient structures and across the ghostly plazas, you finally reach that massive skeleton. At its feet, almost hidden, is a chest. Inside the chest rests a blade like nothing you've ever seen, a twisted weapon with a spiraling crescent-shaped edge that glows faintly at the tip. The Fingerslayer Blade. Its description is haunting. The hidden treasure of the eternal city of Nokron, a blade said to have been born of a corpse. This blood-drenched fetish is proof of the high treason committed by the eternal city and symbolizes its downfall. Cannot be wielded by those without a fate, but is said to be able to harm the Greater Will and its vassals. You take the blade and return to Ranni's Rise. But when you arrive, something has changed. Ranni is no longer in her tower. Instead, you find Blaidd, who seems confused and agitated. He doesn't know where Ranni has gone. He's worried about her. He mentions that Iji, his old friend, has been acting strange. Something is wrong, but he can't quite put his finger on what. You search Ranni's Rise and find that she's not truly gone. Her doll body is there, but it's miniaturized, about the size of your hand, lying on the floor near her reading desk. When you examine the miniature doll, you can speak with it, and Ranni's voice emerges, small and distant. She's pleased that you found the Fingerslayer Blade. She asks you to give it to her, and when you do, she explains what comes next. The blade has served its purpose. She's used it to slay her 2 fingers, freeing herself from their control once and for all. But her work isn't finished. There's one more thing she needs, one final artifact required to complete her grand design. The Dark Moon Ring. This ring is hidden in Raya Lucaria, in a chest next to where her mother Ranni remains, trapped in her own delusions. But the chest is locked, and to open it, you need a key that Ranni discarded long ago along with her flesh. The discarded palace key. Ranni tells you where to find this key. There's a path from Ranni's rise, she explains, a secret way that leads to someplace else, somewhere unexpected. She instructs you to search the area thoroughly, and if you're perceptive enough, you'll find what seems to be an invisible bridge behind her tower, revealed only by messages left by other players or by carefully watching for rainbow stones dropped to test for solid ground. The invisible path leads to another of the 3 sisters, Ranni's Rise. Ranni's Rise was sealed before, its doorway blocked by magical barriers. But now the path is open. You climb to the top of the tower and find a teleporter, a magical circle that transports you somewhere impossible. You arrive in a snow-covered wasteland. Mountains loom in the distance. The mountain tops of the giants, the highest peaks in all the lands between. Somehow Ranni's Rise has transported you halfway across the world to a secret location called the Waygate to Ainsel River. Here, deep in these frozen mountains, you find another teleporter, and this one takes you down into the Ainsel River region, a massive underground cavern system that eventually connects to Lake Ainsel and beyond. But this isn't where Ranni wants you to go. Not yet. First, you need that key. The discarded palace key is found in a coffin in this area, hidden among the frozen corpses and ancient ruins. When you claim it, you realize Ranni planned every step of this. She knew exactly where you would need to go, exactly what you would need to find, exactly how long it would take. She's been orchestrating your journey like a grand master, moving pieces on a board. You return to Raya Lucaria, to the Grand Library where you once fought Ranni in 2 phases, where you saw Ranni project a powerful illusion of her mother to protect her from harm. You find the chest near where Ranni sits, endlessly cradling her amber egg, and you unlock it with the discarded palace key. Inside is the Dark Moon Ring, heavy and cold, with that warning engraved within. Whoever thou mayest be, take not the ring from this place. The solitude beyond the night is better mine alone. What does this warning mean? Why would Ranni inscribe such words on what is supposed to be a wedding ring given to her consort? The answer, though the game never states it explicitly, suggests something profound about Ranni's character. Based on the ring's inscription and its placement, we can understand that Ranni believed she didn't deserve love, believed that her actions, her crimes, the blood on her hands made her unworthy of companionship. The doll body was symbolic of this. She had made herself inhuman, monstrous, someone who couldn't and shouldn't be loved. But you take the ring anyway, and in doing so, you reject that warning. You're telling Ranni that despite everything she's done, despite all the manipulation and death and grand cosmic treason, you're still willing to walk beside her into the dark. Now comes the dangerous part. Part 6. Into the depths of the world. With the Dark Moon Ring in your possession, you return to Ranni's Rise one final time. The miniature doll tells you that there's one last place you need to go, one final journey into the depths. From Ranni's Rise, through the teleporter to the mountaintops and then down to Ainsel River, you must descend further still into the darkest places beneath the world. The path takes you through Noxtella, the Eternal City, another of the Nox civilizations hidden underground. This city is even more alien than Nokron, filled with silver architecture and cosmic themes illuminated by that same false starry sky. But as you explore deeper into Nokstella, you encounter something unexpected. A baleful shadow. This creature looks exactly like Blaidd. Same size, same armor, same greatsword. But something is wrong with it. Its movements are more aggressive, more violent. There's no recognition in its actions, no humanity. You might think this is actually Blaidd himself, that he's finally succumbed to the madness that was always destined to consume him. But this isn't Blaidd. This is an assassin sent by the Two Fingers, one of their last desperate attempts to stop Ranni. It has taken Blaidd's form, become a twisted shadow of the loyal warrior. And you need to kill it. The fight is brutal. The baleful shadow has all of Blaidd's strength and skill, but corrupted, enhanced, made more dangerous. It can inflict frostbite with its attacks, leaping through the air and slamming down with devastating force. But you've come too far to turn back now. You fight, you dodge, you persist, and eventually the baleful shadow falls. When it dies, it drops the discarded palace key, which is odd since you already have that key from the mountain tops. This duplication hints at secrets within the lore, at complexities in the timeline that the game never fully explains. But from the shadow's corpse, you also claim passage forward, the ability to continue deeper still. Beyond the baleful shadow, through flooded corridors and past ancient architecture, you find an elevator. It descends for what feels like an eternity, taking you down to a place that shouldn't exist, a location that defies all logic and reason. The Lake of Rot. This is one of the most hostile environments in all of Elden Ring. A vast underground lake filled with scarlet rot, the same plague that consumed Radon, the same corruption that destroyed Caelid, now pooled here in quantities so immense it forms an entire sea. Just standing in this rot builds up your rot meter, and once it fills, you'll be afflicted with the scarlet rot status, taking massive damage over time that can kill you in seconds. You need to cross this lake. There's a massive structure visible in the distance, a temple-like building rising from the rot itself, and that's where you need to go. The game provides some helpful stone pillars with switches that extend bridges temporarily, but these bridges don't cover the entire distance. You'll need to run through the rot itself, healing as you go, racing against the build-up, pushing forward through one of the most punishing gauntlets in the game. When you finally reach that temple, when you climb out of the rot and into the safety of the structure, you find an elevator leading even deeper. You descend, and you find yourself in a place that seems to exist outside normal reality. The Grand Cloister, and beyond it, the path to Astel, natural born of the Void. Astel is one of the most alien bosses in Elden Ring. It resembles a massive insectoid creature with a skull-like head, covered in crystals and cosmic energy, wielding gravity magic that can tear holes in reality itself. This is a creature from beyond the stars, a being that the greater will itself may have sent to destroy the eternal cities in ages past. Fighting it feels like confronting something that shouldn't exist, something that defies comprehension. But you defeat it. You always do. And beyond Astel's arena, you find a corridor leading to Moonlight. You emerge onto the Moonlight Altar, the hidden plateau in Liurnia that's normally inaccessible, the secret area where Ranni's dark moon can actually be seen in the sky if you look north. This is her holy place, her sanctuary, the location where everything will culminate. The Cathedral of Manus Siles rises before you, a massive structure of stone and starlight. You can fight the dragon at the entrance if you wish, or you can run past it and enter the cathedral directly. Inside, the architecture is breathtaking, all soaring ceilings and cosmic symbolism. In the center of the cathedral floor is a hole. You descend through that hole and find yourself in a chamber deep beneath the cathedral. And there, lying on the ground, is Ranni's doll body. Full-sized now, no longer miniaturized, but motionless, inanimate, seemingly dead. Near her corpse are the remains of her 2 fingers, charred and destroyed by the Fingerslayer Blade you provided. This is it. This is the moment everything has been building toward. You approach Ranni's body, you kneel beside her, and you place the dark moon ring on her finger. Part 7. The Dark Moon Greatsword. The moment the ring touches her finger, Ranni awakens. She sits up, fully conscious now, her eyes opening, her voice no longer distant and small, but full and present. She looks at you, and for the first time in the entire quest line, you hear genuine emotion in her voice. Not the formal, archaic language she usually employs, but something warmer, more personal. She thanks you. She calls you her dear consort, says she's glad it was you who found her. All the preparation, all the planning, all the centuries of scheming have led to this moment, and you're here with her at the end of it all. Ranni explains what she's accomplished. With the 2 fingers destroyed, with her Empyrean body dead, with her soul free in this doll form, she has finally broken the chains that bound her to the greater will. She is no longer a pawn. She is no longer a vessel. She is free. But her work isn't finished. Not yet. There's still the matter of the Elden Ring itself, still the question of what comes next, what new age will replace the Golden Order. She tells you that when you become Elden Lord, when you defeat the Guardians of the Erdtree and stand before the Shattered Ring, she will be waiting for you. She will offer you a choice. Before she disappears, before she leaves you in that chamber beneath the cathedral, she gives you a gift, a reward for your service, a symbol of the oath between you. The Dark Moon Greatsword. This weapon is legendary among fans of From Software games. It's a variant of the Moonlight Greatsword that has appeared in almost every game they've made, from Kingsfield to Armored Core to Dark Souls to Bloodborne. But in Elden Ring, it belongs to Ranni specifically. It's her weapon, imbued with the power of her dark moon, a blade of cold blue light that deals magic and frost damage, that can freeze enemies solid, that represents the culmination of her magical studies and her connection to that mysterious moon she encountered in her youth. When you claim the Dark Moon Greatsword, when you hold it in your hands and feel its weight and cold power, you understand. This is Ranni giving you a piece of herself. This is her way of saying that, despite all her talk of solitude, despite the warning on the ring, she values what you've done. She trusts you. She wants you by her side. If you return to the top of Ranni's Rise after this, you can find another interaction with her. She'll be there in spectral form, sitting in her chair one last time, and you can have a final conversation with her before the end. In this conversation, if you let it play out completely, Ranni reveals more about her plans. She describes the order she intends to create. It won't be an order of gold, not the tyranny of the Erdtree and the Golden, order that dominated the lands between for so long. Instead, it will be an order of the stars and moon of the chill night. And here's the crucial part, the thing that was mistranslated in the original English version of the game. Ranni intends to take her order far away. The English translation made it sound like she was going to plunge the world into darkness and fear, that she was bringing a 1,000-year night of terror. But the original Japanese text makes her intentions much clearer. She plans to remove herself and her order from the lands between entirely. She will take the Elden Ring, take the divine power, take all the control that gods exercise over mortals, and she will carry it away into the cosmos, into the far reaches of space where it cannot influence or control people's lives. In her own words from the corrected translation, "To all, you may think of the chill night as infinitely far away." She's not bringing darkness to the world. She's taking herself away so that people can be free. free from the tyranny of gods, free from the manipulation of outer gods and their envoys, free to make their own choices, live their own lives, find their own meaning without divine interference. This is what the Age of Stars truly means. It's not about replacing one tyranny with another. It's about ending tyranny altogether, at least for 1,000 years, giving humanity a chance to determine its own destiny. But to achieve this, she needs you to complete one final task. You need to defeat the Guardians of the Erd Tree. You need to become Elden Lord. You need to reach the shattered Elden Ring itself. And then, instead of mending it as 100 other forces want you to do, instead of becoming another in a long line of puppets dancing to the Greater Will's tune, you need to summon her. But before that can happen, before you can reach the ending of Ranni's quest, there's one more tragedy that needs to play out. Part 8. The Death of a Loyal Shadow. While you were descending into the depths, while you were crossing the Lake of Rot and fighting Astel and placing the ring on Ranni's finger, something terrible was happening back on the surface. Remember Blaidd? Remember the loyal wolf warrior who had served Ranni all his life, who had been raised as her step-brother, who had fought by your side at Radahn's festival? Remember how Ranni knew about the failsafe built into every shadow, how they would go mad if their Empyrean ever betrayed the Two Fingers? Iji knew too. The troll blacksmith understood what was coming. He saw the signs of Blaidd's growing confusion and agitation. He knew that once Ranni used the Fingerslayer Blade to kill her Two Fingers, once she completed her betrayal of the Greater Will, the failsafe would trigger. Blaidd would transform from a friend into a threat. So Iji did the only thing he could think of to protect both Blaidd and Ranni. He imprisoned Blaidd in the Forlorn Hound Evergaol, that magical prison where you first helped Blaidd fight Darrywil so long ago. It was an act of mercy disguised as betrayal. Iji hoped that by containing Blaidd, by keeping him locked away from the world, he could prevent the worst from happening. If you visit the Forlorn Hound Evergaol after retrieving the Dark Moon Ring, you can hear Blaidd's voice from within the seal. He's confused, hurt, betrayed. He doesn't understand why Iji would do this to him. He insists he would never harm Ranni, that he's part of her very being, her shadow, incapable of treachery no matter what might happen. You can choose to free Blaidd from the Evergaol if you wish. If you do, he thanks you and immediately runs off toward Ranni's rise, desperate to ensure his lady is safe, convinced that something terrible must have happened to make Iji imprison him. But whether you free him or not, the outcome is the same. After you complete Ranni's quest in the Cathedral of Manus Tellers, after you receive the Dark Moon Greatsword and Ranni disappears to prepare for the coming age, you can return to Ranni's rise one last time. Waiting outside the tower, surrounded by the corpses of Black Knife assassins, is Blaidd. He's sitting with his back against the wall, his greatsword planted in the ground beside him. Bodies are strewn around him, evidence of a fierce battle. The Black Knife assassins came for Ranni one last time, trying to stop her before she could complete her plan. And Blaidd killed every single one of them, defending his lady's tower even though she was no longer there, protecting her right to the very end. But the madness has taken him. When you approach, when you try to talk to him, Blaidd rises to his feet. His eyes are wild. He doesn't recognize you. He can't speak anymore, can only growl and snarl. The programming built into him, the failsafe that lay dormant all his life, has finally activated. He attacks. This is one of the most heartbreaking fights in all of Elden Ring. You're killing a friend, a loyal companion who helped you on your journey, who fought beside you against Radahn, who never wanted anything except to serve Ranni. But he gives you no choice. The madness has consumed him completely. The fight is difficult. Blaidd moves with the speed and ferocity you saw from the baleful shadow. his royal greatsword imbued with cold magic that can inflict frostbite, his attacks coming in savage combinations that can overwhelm you if you're not careful. He leaps into the air and crashes down with area of effect slams. He charges forward with devastating slashes. He uses every ounce of skill he possesses. But you're stronger now than you were when this journey began. You've grown through all the trials, through all the bosses defeated and challenges overcome. You fight, you dodge, you persist. Eventually, Blaidd falls. He collapses outside Ranni's rise, his life finally ended, his service finally complete. When he dies, he drops his entire armor set, his distinctive black armor with its silver fur cape that protected him from the cold he hated so much. He drops his royal greatsword, the weapon he carried all his life, imbued with cold magic at the moment he swore his oath to serve no master but Ranni, the oath that defied his very programming. If you search nearby, near Seluvis's tower, you can find one more item, the Black Wolf mask. This is a helmet that looks almost exactly like Blaidd's head, but with slightly different eyes. Based on its description and placement, it appears this mask belonged to one of the assassins who tried to kill Ranni by impersonating her loyal shadow, trying to get close to her by wearing a disguise of Blaidd's face. It didn't work. They failed. But it shows just how far the enemies of Ranni were willing to go, how desperate they were to stop her. After you loot Blaidd's corpse, if you return to Egi's forge on the road below Karaya Manor, you can tell him what happened. Egi grieves. He knew this was coming. He tried to prevent it. He hoped that imprisoning Blaidd would somehow break the curse, would give his friend a chance to survive. But fate is cruel in the lands between. Shortly after this conversation, if you rest at a site of grace and return to Egi's forge again, you'll find him dead. His forge is burning. The Black Knife assassins finally caught up with him. He fought back, killed several of them, but they overwhelmed him in the end. The loyal troll who served the Carian royal family for generations, who protected Ranni and Blaidd, who tried so hard to save everyone, is dead, surrounded by flames and the corpses of his killers. All of Ranni's servants are gone now. Blaidd, mad and slain. Egi, dead defending his forge. Seluvis, whose fate varies depending on your choices, but who certainly doesn't survive to see Ranni's triumph. Everyone who helped her along the way has paid the price for their loyalty. Only you remain. Only you are left to see Ranni's plan through to its conclusion. Part 9. The Elden Throne. You press forward with your journey through the lands between. You claim great runes from the demigods. You fight through the capital of Leyndell, that beautiful golden city now scarred by war and death. You burn the Erd Tree, or at least you try to, setting yourself aflame at the forge of the giants, becoming kindling for a fire that will open the way forward. You pass through the crumbling Farum Azula, that impossible place outside time where the ancient dragons once dwelled. You defeat Malekith the Black Blade, that same guardian who failed to protect the Rune of Death all those centuries ago when Ranni stole a fragment of it. You claim destined death for yourself, the power to kill gods, the power to make endings permanent. You return to Leyndell to find it transformed into the Ashen Capital, the entire city buried in ash from the Erd Tree's burning, its streets haunted by ghosts and memories. You descend through the roots of the Erd Tree itself, passing through the deep-root depths where Godwyn's corpse lies, spreading its corruption, where the Prince of Death's influence seeps through the very foundations of the world. Finally, you reach the Elden Throne. Radagon awaits you there, Queen Marika's consort, Ranni's own father, wielding a hammer and the power of the Golden Order itself. The fight is brutal, a clash of titans, but you've come too far to fail now. You defeat Radagon, and his body crumbles, dissolving into golden light. But the battle isn't over. From Radagon's corpse emerges something impossible, something alien, something that shouldn't exist in this world. The Elden Beast. This is the vassal of the greater will itself, the creature that descended from the stars in ancient times and became the Elden Ring, the living embodiment of the cosmic order that has ruled the lands between for ages. It looks like a massive golden beast made of starlight, swimming through the air as though through water, wielding holy magic that can annihilate you in seconds. You fight. You dodge its devastating attacks, its massive sword swings, its holy breath that fills entire areas with deadly energy. You chase it across the arena as it swims away, always keeping its distance, always testing you, always pushing you to your limits. But you persevere. You land blow after blow. You whittle down its immense health. And finally, after a battle that feels like it lasts an eternity, the Elden Beast falls. You stand victorious in the heart of the Erd Tree, surrounded by the shattered remains of gods, before the broken body of Queen Marika hanging in the air, clutching the shattered fragments of the Elden Ring. This is it. This is the moment where you choose what happens next. What kind of age will follow the Age of Fracture? What ending you will bring to this shattered world? Most players who reach this point, if they haven't completed any major quest lines, will simply touch Marika's body and choose to mend the Elden Ring, becoming Elden Lord and beginning a new age that looks much like the old one, a restoration of the status quo with all its flaws intact. But you've completed Ranni's quest. You've walked with her through her entire grand design. You've claimed the Dark Moon Greatsword, placed the ring on her finger, proven your loyalty and determination. And so, instead of a single option, you see two. You can touch Marika and become Elden Lord if you want. The option is still there. Or you can look down at the ground near Marika's broken body and see a glowing blue summon sign. The same kind of sign you've seen countless times before when summoning spirits or other players for help. This sign is different. This sign is for Ranni. Part 10. The Age of Stars, you touch the summon sign. The world transforms around you. The golden light that filled the Erd Tree fades, replaced by something else, something cold and blue and infinite. Stars appear overhead, countless stars, more than you've ever seen, a cosmos of infinite possibility spreading out above you. And Ranni appears, not the miniature doll, not the projection. Ranni herself, in her full witch's regalia, her massive hat and flowing robes, her 4 arms and pale blue skin standing before you in the heart of the Erd Tree. Behind her, rising in the sky, is her dark moon, that cold and leaden celestial body that she encountered as a child, that warned her mentor but captivated her, that became her symbol and source of power. She speaks, and unlike every other ending in Elden Ring, unlike the brief narrations or cutscenes that accompany other conclusions, Ranni gives you a full speech, a solemn vow, a promise of what the Age of Stars will bring. The battle is over, I see. She begins. I do solemnly swear, to every living being and every living soul, now cometh the Age of the Stars, a 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. This is it. This is what everything has been building toward. Not another age of tyranny, not another cycle of the same oppression under a different name. Ranni is promising something genuinely new, genuinely different. The original English translation of what comes next caused significant confusion among players. It sounded ominous, almost apocalyptic. Here beginneth the chill night that encompasses all, reaching the great beyond, into fear, doubt, and loneliness, as the path stretcheth into darkness. Many players interpreted this as Ranni bringing a dark age of suffering to the lands between, as her imposing her will as cruelly as the Golden Order had. But this interpretation was based on a mistranslation, an error in converting Japanese to English that changed the meaning of her vow entirely. The correct translation reveals something quite different. Ranni is saying that to all people, they may think of the chill night, of her order, as infinitely far away. She's not bringing the darkness to them. She's taking herself and her order into the far distance, into the cosmos, removing divine influence from the world entirely. She continues, "Mine will be an order not of gold, but the stars and moon of the chill night. I would keep them far from the earth beneath our feet. As it is now, life and souls and order are all bound tightly together, but I would have them at a great remove." This is the key to understanding the Age of Stars. Ranni isn't destroying the order that governs life and death and souls. That order still exists, still functions. But she's removing it from immediate, tangible presence. She's taking it far away so that it cannot be seen, cannot be touched, cannot be fought over, cannot be used by mortals to control each other. Under the Golden Order, the Erdtree dominated the landscape. Everyone could see it. Everyone knew where divine power resided, and so everyone fought to control it, to claim it, to use it for their own purposes. The shattering happened because the Elden Ring was there, tangible, real, something that could be broken and claimed and used as a weapon. Ranni's solution is elegant in its simplicity. If the source of divine order is removed from the world, taken far away into the cosmos where no one can reach it, then no one can fight over it. People will still die, souls will still exist, the cycle of life will continue, but without the direct interference of gods and their servants. She calls this a 1,000-year voyage. It's not permanent. She's not claiming to rule forever. Unlike the Golden Order, which sought eternal dominance, unlike the Greater Will, which imposed its authority without end, Ranni's age has a limit. 1,000 years. After that, who knows? Perhaps the Order will need to return. Perhaps something new will emerge. But for 1,000 years at least, the lands between will be free. And here's the most fascinating part. You go with her. Well then, Ranni says, looking directly at you. Shall we? My dear consort, eternal. The cutscene that plays shows you and Ranni leaving together. You're not becoming Elden Lord, not in the traditional sense. There's no throne for you, no crown, no ceremonial proclamation. Instead, you're becoming her consort, her partner, walking beside her as an equal as she carries the Elden Ring away from the world. The lands between is left without a lord for the first time in ages. There's no singular authority ruling from the Erdtree. There's no one claiming divine right to govern. The people are left to figure things out for themselves, to create their own societies, to make their own mistakes and achievements without gods pulling the strings. Is this a good ending? That's the question Elden Ring leaves you to answer for yourself. On one hand, Ranni murdered her own brother to achieve this. Godwyn's death corrupted the lands between, gave rise to those who live in death, spread deathroot throughout the world. Countless people suffered because of her actions. She manipulated you, used Blaidd and Ig and others as pawns, orchestrated a conspiracy that resulted in the shattering and centuries of war. On the other hand, she freed the world from tyranny. The Greater Will and the Golden Order controlled everything, dictated every life, removed all true choice from the people of the lands between. Yes, the transition was violent. Yes, people died. But what other method could possibly overthrow gods? Ranni herself acknowledges the darkness of her path. The warning on the dark moon ring, that message about solitude being better hers alone, reveals her own doubts. She thought of herself as a monster, as someone who had become inhuman through her crimes, someone who deserved to be alone forever. She carved that warning into the ring as a protection, a way to ensure that even if someone found her, they would know to leave her in her self-imposed isolation. But you didn't leave her alone. You completed her quest. You proved your loyalty. You placed the ring on her finger despite the warning. And in doing so, you showed Ranni that despite everything she's done, despite all the blood and manipulation and schemes, she's still worthy of companionship, still deserving of love, still human enough in spirit to be someone's consort, someone's partner, someone's friend. The Age of Stars is the most popular ending among Elden Ring players, according to achievement statistics. Perhaps it's because Ranni is a well-written, compelling character. Perhaps it's because the Dark Moon Greatsword is an incredible weapon. Perhaps it's because players appreciate the extensive questline and the multiple hidden locations you need to discover. Or perhaps it's because deep down, players recognize that Ranni's offer is genuinely unique. In a game filled with grim choices and lesser evils, where almost every ending involves either preserving a broken system or replacing it with something equally tyrannical, Ranni offers something different. Freedom. Genuine, uncertain, terrifying freedom, where people need to figure things out for themselves without gods to guide them or blame. It's not perfect. Freedom never is. Without the greater will's influence, without the guidance of the Golden Order, people will make mistakes. They'll fight each other. They'll create injustices of their own. The 1,000 years of Ranni's age won't be paradise, but they'll be theirs. Their choices, their mistakes, their triumphs. Not some cosmic order's grand design, but humanity's own messy, beautiful, tragic story. And you'll be there with Ranni, watching from infinitely far away, two companions who defied the gods together, traveling through the cosmos, witnessing wonders and horrors beyond imagination, bound by a cold oath and a heavy ring and a choice to reject solitude in favor of connection. The screen fades to black. Your journey through the lands between is complete. Epilogue. The Grand Conspiracy. Ranni the Witch stands as perhaps the most complex character in all of Elden Ring's lore, a figure who defies easy categorization as hero or villain, savior or monster. Her story is one of agency in a world designed to strip agency away, of rebellion against cosmic tyranny, of making terrible choices in pursuit of a genuinely better future. But there's one more secret woven into Ranni's story, one final piece of the puzzle that most players never fully consider. It's hidden in plain sight, mentioned casually early in the game, and it changes everything you thought you understood about who was really pulling the strings. Remember when Ranni, disguised as Renna, gave you the spirit calling bell at the Church of LA? Remember what she said? "I was entrusted this, for thee, by Torrent's former master." Torrent's former master. The person who owned your spectral steed before Melina gave you the whistle to summon him. The person who knew both Ranni and Melina well enough to entrust them with gifts for Torrent's next rider. The person whose identity the game never explicitly reveals, leaving players to piece together the truth from scattered clues. Only two characters in all of Elden Ring mention Torrent by name: Ranni and Melina. Both knew his former master. Both were entrusted with items to pass on to you. Both are spirits without bodies, Melina burned and bodiless, Ranni inhabiting a doll. Both work against the greater will in their own ways. And both, if you examine the evidence, share a connection that the game hints at but never confirms. The clues point to a disturbing possibility. The Black Knife assassins were all Numen women with close ties to Marika. Malekith, who guarded the rune of death that Ranni stole, was Marika's own shadow-bound beast. Immediately after Godwyn's death, Marika shattered the Elden Ring, seemingly driven mad with grief, or perhaps executing the next phase of a plan. Melina claims to be searching for the purpose given to her by her mother inside the Erd tree long ago. She is burned and bodiless, just like Ranni describes herself. And when you choose the Lord of Frenzied Flame ending, Melina's eye opens to reveal the same marking that Ranni has over her sealed eye. The evidence suggests what many players have theorized, but the game won't confirm. Melina and Ranni may be sisters, both daughters of Queen Marika. And if Melina is Marika's daughter, if Ranni knew Torrent's former master, if that master trusted both women enough to prepare gifts for the tarnished champion who would one day rise to challenge the gods, then Torrent's former master may have been Queen Marika herself. Think about what this means. If Marika was involved, if she knew about the Night of Black Knives, if she worked with Ranni to bring about Godwyn's death and the Shattering, then everything changes. The conspiracy wasn't just Ranni's rebellion. It was a coordinated assault on the Golden Order from within, orchestrated by the goddess who ruled it, planned across generations, executed through her daughters and the Syata, the tarnished champions she knew would eventually rise. Marika gave Torrent to Melina. Marika gave the spirit calling bell to Ranni. Marika may have even helped Ranni steal the rune of death from her own beast, Malekith, knowing that this theft would lead to Godwyn's death, to the Shattering, to the eventual fall of the Golden Order she both created and came to despise. This theory remains speculation, built on connections and implications rather than explicit confirmation. The game leaves this deliberately ambiguous, allowing players to draw their own conclusions. But if it's true, if Marika orchestrated everything alongside Ranni, then the Age of Stars wasn't just one demigod's rebellion. It was the culmination of a plot that spanned centuries, involved multiple generations of gods and their children, and required the sacrifice of heroes, innocents, and even Marika's own beloved son. Ranni didn't act alone. She was part of something larger, something that began long before she was born, something that used her just as much as she used others. The witch who thought she was the master manipulator may have been a pawn in an even grander game. And you, the tarnished, carrying Torrent across the lands between, using the spirit calling bell that Ranni gave you on Marika's behalf, following the guidance of Melina, who speaks for a mother trapped in the Erd tree? You were part of the plan from the very beginning. Every choice you made, every path you took, every boss you defeated, it was all leading exactly where Marika and Ranni needed you to go. When you place that dark moon ring on Ranni's finger, when you choose the Age of Stars, you're not just helping one witch achieve freedom. You're completing a conspiracy that gods and demigods spent centuries arranging. You're executing a plan that required the death of heroes, the fall of kingdoms, and the breaking of the world itself. The warning on the ring takes on new meaning now, doesn't it? Whoever thou mayest be, take not the ring from this place. The solitude beyond the night is better mine alone. Ranni carved those words knowing what she had done, knowing what she had become, knowing that she was part of a scheme so vast and bloody that even the gods themselves feared it. She believed she deserved to be alone, that the weight of her crimes made her unworthy of companionship. But you took the ring anyway. You rejected her solitude. You chose to walk beside her into the cosmos, to become her consort in an age of freedom built on foundations of betrayal and blood. Is the Age of Stars a good ending? The game refuses to answer. Ranni freed the world from tyranny, but the cost was staggering. She may have been manipulated by forces even she didn't fully understand, used by her own mother in a cosmic game of revenge. The 1,000 years of freedom she promises may be exactly what the world needs, or it may be just another turn of a wheel that spins on endlessly, grinding everything beneath it. What we know for certain is this: Ranni succeeded. She broke free from the two fingers. She claimed godhood on her own terms. She offered partnership instead of worship, freedom instead of order, uncertainty instead of destiny. And as she walks away into the starlight with you beside her, as the dark moon rises and the Elden Ring disappears from the world, we're left with one final question. If all of this was planned from the beginning, if Marika orchestrated her own fall, if the conspiracy goes deeper than anyone imagined, then who else is still out there, watching from the shadows, waiting to see what happens when the gods are finally, truly gone? The Age of Stars may be an ending for Ranni, but for the lands between, for the forces that move in darkness beyond the reach of moons and stars, it might be just another beginning. Closing thoughts for sleepers. So there we are, friends. The complete story of Ranni the Witch, from her birth as a demigod princess to her ascension as a god who rejects godhood, from her first encounter with the dark moon to her final journey into the stars. And perhaps, just perhaps, we've uncovered evidence of a conspiracy that reaches even deeper than we knew, one that suggests the gods themselves were at war with each other, using mortals and demigods as pieces on a board that spans centuries. It's a story about agency and choice, but also about how even our choices might be influenced by forces we can't see, by plans laid long before we were born. Ranni thought she was orchestrating everything, but the evidence suggests she might have been dancing to someone else's tune, executing a plan her mother began when Ranni was just a child. That ambiguity, that uncertainty about who's really in control, who's really free, that's what makes Elden Ring's lore so compelling. Nothing is simple. No one is entirely good or evil. Every answer raises new questions. If this deep dive into Ranni's lore helped you understand the Age of Stars ending better, if it made you reconsider the conspiracy at the heart of the game, if it made you wonder about Torrent and Melina and Marika and all the secrets still hidden in the lands between, then I'm glad we could share this journey together. The cosmos is vast, friends, and there are always more stories to tell, more connections to discover, more secrets waiting in the darkness between the stars. If you enjoyed this exploration of Elden Ring's lore, consider subscribing to Sleepable Gaming Lore for more deep dives into the stories that make video games unforgettable. Hit the like button if this changed how you see Ranni's quest. And let me know in the comments, do you think Marika was involved? Do you believe the conspiracy goes deeper than Ranni knew? Until then, may you find your own path to freedom. May you question the strings attached to every choice. And may you always remember the witch who stole death and the goddess who may have helped her do it. Sleep well, travelers. Some truths only reveal themselves in darkness.